Syria's foreign ministry has urged the UN to condemn Thursday's US-led coalition airstrikes, which it says killed 45 civilians and injured another 50. In a letter sent to the United Nations, the Syrian foreign ministry compared the bombings to atrocities committed by Islamic State terrorists. The raids came less than 2 weeks after another coalition airstrike had killed dozens of civilians.
Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan says the country's military commanders will report to the defense minister following the mid-July failed coup in the country. In an interview with a local broadcaster, Erdogan said military schools will also be closed in the wake of the coup attempt. He announced plans to introduce a constitutional package to parliament to bring the National Intelligence Organization and a military chief of staff directly under his control as well. The Turkish president added that his government is also set to reduce the country's gendarmerie personnel. Erdogan went on to say that Turkish lawyers have started working on withdrawing insult lawsuits against citizens and members of opposition parties. Heavy fighting is underway for a second day in Turkey's restive southeast between the army and Kurdish militants. The Turkish military says troops have killed 35 militants from the Kurdistan Workers' Party, that's the PKK, after they stormed a base in the province of Hakkari on Saturday. Also on Friday, an armed confrontation in Hakkari left at least 8 soldiers dead and 25 others wounded. Violence flared up in Turkey's southeast after a ceasefire between Ankara and the PKK collapsed back in July of 2015.
Lawmakers in Mali have agreed to extend a state of emergency across the country by another 8 months. The vote came as renewed violence broke out near Kidal in the northeast. Former Tuareg rebels are battling a pro-government armed group for control of the city. Deadly clashes broke out between the two groups last week, first time their ceasefire has been broken since last September.
Well, at least 60 people have been injured in fighting between police and protesters in the Armenian capital Yerevan. Violence comes after gunmen seized a police headquarters 2 weeks ago. The group is demanding a jailed opposition leader be released. There have been anti-government demonstrations held in the city every night since.
People are currently protesting in Berlin. That's against Chancellor Merkel's migration policies and the government's security failures. Our correspondent Peter Oliver reports from Berlin.
What you see just behind me is a whole group of people that have come out to voice what their opinion is, and it's emblazoned on the flag right in front of me. It says Merkel muss weg. It's bending around a little bit as we come into the streets. Merkel muss weg, which means Merkel must go.
Firearms and military equipment have reportedly been stolen from a US military base in the German city of Stuttgart. That's despite tightened security in the country after a recent string of terror attacks. The base is situated just outside Stuttgart. The facility houses some elite units of the US military, including the Green Berets, Navy SEALs and other special forces. The full picture of just what happened is shrouded in mystery, with the authorities having kept silent about the theft for more than a month now.
Russia's intelligence service says it uncovered a planned cyber attack against some 24 government and military organizations. In a statement, the country's Federal Security Service, the FSB, says it detected malware intended for use to spy on some 20 institutions in Russia. The organizations in question were government, scientific and military institutions. The FSB said the attack appeared to be designed by professionals. It said malware would allow listening in on phone calls, switching on microphones and cameras, and recording keyboard strokes.
Concerns this morning about the Zika virus here in the U.S. after health officials say mosquitoes in Florida likely infected 4 people.
Yeah, this is really a worrisome new development, and ABC's Eva Pilgrim is on the story in Miami this morning. Eva, good morning to you.
Good morning, guys. We are standing in the area of concern. It's a 1 square mile radius. Health officials say the Zika virus is pretty much contained to this neighborhood, but they are doing everything they can, passing out literature to make sure people here know what to do to keep this.
Expert analysis on the growing threat of the Zika virus in the U.S. Dr. Claire Panosian joins us now.
Thanks for joining us, by the way. Dr. Panosian is a UCLA professor who specializes in tropical medicine and infectious diseases and a past president of the American Society of Tropical Medicine and Hygiene. So you're very well versed on Zika virus. First of all, can you clarify what Zika is and how you can actually get it? When we first heard about it, there was this perception that only pregnant women or women who wanted to become pregnant had to be worried because they might have a baby with microcephaly.
Well, first of all, Zika is a mosquito-borne virus. It infects people of all ages, And yes, we are most worried about pregnant women because of the risk to their unborn children, but there have been neurologic complications in adults as well.
Well, what about the transmission? Because I know we talked about earlier about how mosquitoes can transmit the virus, of course. But as more news about Zika started to come out, we started to slowly learn as the news evolved, at least here in the U.S., that it can also be sexually transmitted as well.
Absolutely true. The mosquito is the primary way that it will be transmitted, but men, and now women as well, but men for sure can have an inapparent infection. They may be in an endemic country, come back, have sexual contact with their partner, possibly have that virus in their body fluids for up to 2 or 3 months.
Monterey County firefighters say the rough landscape is making it difficult to fight the massive Soberanes fire and that it could burn for another month. Carter Evans has the latest.
As flames rage out of control near the coastal resort town of Big Sur, burning in steep, rugged terrain, the Soberanes fire has scorched more than 51 square miles of Northern California in just 1 week.
There has been a constant conflict between the rights of religious freedom and that of gay rights. Now the newest battle to be fought in this ongoing war is California's religious colleges and universities. An upcoming bill is making its way through the legislature. The goal of the bill is to remove the anti-discrimination laws from religious institutions. This could then expose the colleges and universities to tons of civil rights lawsuits from both staff and students. In response, schools believe that this goes against their right to freely exercise their religion. As of now, any religious institutions may assign housing based on sex instead of gender identity.
The U.S. Navy is naming a ship after gay rights activist Harvey Milk.
What I'm going to do is call upon the gay community to come out now, keep the education going, keep talking one-to-one.
Before Milk became the first openly gay elected official to serve in a major U.S. city, he served in the Navy.
On Friday, authorities reported that 59-year-old Linda Patricia Thompson robbed a Wyoming bank just because she wanted to be put back in prison. Thompson had recently been released from prison and was on parole with the state of Oregon. Thompson had been denied a place in a homeless shelter and had been beaten at a Cheyenne, Wyoming park the night before she decided to rob the bank. Thompson reported that she had never wanted to leave prison and had asked not to be released. But when she was put back on the streets, she went to a Wyoming bank and held up a cardboard sign telling the bank teller to hand over all the money in the drawer. Police say she has been charged and has not yet been appointed a lawyer.
Hillary has always been in Planned Parenthood's corner because she knows women deserve someone who is in theirs. She will always stand up for the right of every woman to access a full range of reproductive health care, including abortion, no matter her economic status.
Hillary Clinton not only supports expanded access to abortion, she's also made clear she believes personal convictions of average Americans shouldn't stand in her way.
Laws have to be backed up with resources and political will, and deep-seated cultural codes, religious beliefs, and structural biases have to be changed.
And in Hawaii, spectacular images coming in. The Kilauea volcano not just erupting here, but smiling.